How do you feel? Anxiety scale of 1 to 10 right now.
Anxiety scale of 1 to 10, I would say a 6, 7. I'd say a 7.
What's going on inside?
So when I was sitting there, I said, "Oh shit," and and when I was sitting there, I could think when I saw my buddy wherever he went.
He like ran out. He's like,
There he
"Not me."
is.
Like,
When he was up here, I could think all the thoughts I would be thinking if I was him. But then you actually called me up here, and I went very cold. And I guess pretty present, like kind of like when you get on a roller coaster that looked really scary. And when you were on the ground, you never thought you'd get on the roller coaster. And then the seatbelt clinks, and you're kind of like, I'm on. And then your kind of thoughts just kind of go like flatlines. Getting a lot of reassurance. I like these people. We're in a
what I
good
would
group of
challenge you
people.
to do, same with you, is to actually welcome the anxiety.
Yeah,
So-
welcome.
You can, for everyone here, you can audit it too. When you do get triggered, which is essentially what happens, right? You come up here, it's like, oh, triggered, right? Being in front of a crowd, public speaking, one of the top fears in the world. One is, and you can audit within yourself, are you trying to move away from what you're feeling? Moving away could be you retreat up mentally, right? You kind of just block off feeling and you're just logically processing it all. One could be, oh, let's just kind of focus out here, get present, get present, get present. One could be hiding it with humor and jokes. Anything that's trying to move away from versus, let me move towards this. Let me actually welcome this. You don't want to stuff this back down. Whatever gets, like, takes over, like same as if you're shaking, you should actually not try to stop shaking. You should welcome it. It's like, oh, shaking? Great. Is there more? Same here. If you're like very present, it's like, that's good, but like, let's actually get into that initial fear versus, okay, straight to presence.
Yeah, so I definitely like make jokes when I feel a lot of anxiety, or I switch the subject to something I'm comfortable talking about. I definitely feel like stuffing some anxiety right now.
When did you get hurt? I can see you have. When?
Oh man,
And I can see you thinking, is it okay to say it out loud?
yeah, especially we got, yeah. Kind of got like a highlight reel of like different events, kind of going through my mind right now. Different times when there was like humiliation.
When was the first time, the earliest time?
Earliest time. Oh man. I guess like a classroom setting where you get asked a question and then you say an answer that you think is right with full confidence, and then the room just bursts out with laughter and you feel humiliation and then you just shrink.
That happened to you?
Yeah.
How did that feel?
Made me feel like I was lied to by the source of the information. And then it pissed me off. And
How have you dealt with that hurt in your life?
food. And trying to make people laugh and trying to make people feel good and trying to hype people up and trying to win people's approval and focusing on other people besides myself. But not always. I can also be selfish.
How do you feel about yourself as a person
Well, it depends.
in general?
In general, unsatisfied. don't think very highly of myself unless I'm coming up to you and reading off my resume and trying to win your approval, or anybody else's for that matter, or care about everybody's approval.
Are your parents still together?
Yes.
Do you still talk to them regularly?
Not all the time. Sometimes.
Do you get along better with your mom or your dad?
Both.
Who do you get along with the best?
Different situations, one or the other.
Who are you the most angry at?
Angry with both of them.
Why?
Just for having a lot of criticism, and whenever I would like poke my head up with something positive, a lot of times it would be cut down or dismissed, or like a positive response that feels forced. But like, sorry about that, man.
Oh, it's fine. Did you feel lonely growing up?
Yes.
Do you still feel lonely?
Yeah. I feel like always reaching for attention or approval. I don't feel very like satisfied with myself. He's pretty much got, from the outside, kind of what if I had what this guy had, I would be good with myself. But I know I would let off the gas completely and then come right back to where I am now. Because I guess I don't have that internal, I don't get pissed off at myself when I'm choosing comfort. I just kind of let myself choose comfort and then fade away into that.
One more question for you. Out of these fears, which one would you perhaps fear the most? Fear of not being good enough, fear of being alone, fear of never living up to your potential? Fear of something being wrong with you. 4.
The last two. Or, okay. Fear of not living up to my potential. Because I feel like some really awesome stuff could happen if I could discipline myself, fix myself, and stay the course. And then even when I get to where I want to be, stay consistent instead of just being happy that I got there and then laying off the gas. And then I guess like the other big fear is like somebody liking me at first and then not liking me anymore once I let my guard down.
Do you ever feel like an imposter?
Not really. Yeah. Sometimes. Sometimes.
Okay. Well, good job diving deep, man. Yeah, with so with you, great, right? Less layers of resistance. The one thing that I would, and we're going to combine this to the release, but the one thing that I would just keep in mind is self-discipline is a good first step, but ultimately it's a tool of self-hate. Meaning, what are you disciplining? The part of you that is, quote unquote, pulling you towards failure. Meaning that not all parts of you are aligned towards success. So you need to make yourself succeed. Now, that's better than just, well, screw it then. But what's actually even better is getting in touch with that part of you that's pulling you towards failure, processing it so you're just naturally inspired to succeed. Because that's the thing, it's like we all assume that to succeed we need to make ourselves do it, but that means that by default, what, you're just pulling yourself towards failure? That's weird. Once you start letting go of that, it's what we call, instead of work ethic, having a work magnet. And then it's also internally driven versus carrot and stick, because you're saying it's like, once I have that, then I would stop. That's external approach.
About 5 years ago, I lost 50 pounds in 2 months, just with like the right combination of things. And then when I got down there to where I wanted to be, I was like, and completely like stopped everything that I did to get there. And then all came back, and now I'm feeling like, well, what's the point? Because I'm gonna get to where I want to be, and then it's all gonna come back. It's all just gonna happen again.
Yeah, very common pattern. Actually, with the beanie, same thing with you and the money, right? So he made a ton of money, good amount of money, and then as soon as he hit that goal, twice. It's like this whole hitting your ceiling, floor of success. That's a lot of people, funny enough. It's like, you probably all experienced it. We all have that moment where like, okay, let's do this. And you start getting on top of your stuff. Start moving up, moving up, moving up. Then things start actually getting good. And then as soon as it hits that point where you hit your goal or a bit above, a slow fall, and then you hit your floor and you're like, what happened? Ugh. You start over, down, over, down. Most people spend their entire lives like that. And then what can also happen, which happened to you, is you're like, well, if I'm going to fall down anyway, what's the point?
And then you consciously want it, but then you completely lack belief in yourself. So no matter how badly you consciously want it, you can't force yourself.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know.
Well, great awareness, lot to work on, but massive respect diving deep there. Give him a hand. Come on.